I hope you recover very soon. Well, I have a question for you. Can you tell the audiences that are not really familiar with the Accused AD a little bit of your history?
Well, the accused AD. So we were. So I'm going to go way back. So this is going to make me seem like I'm really, really old. But I joined the accused in 1984, and then the bass player Alex Maggot Brain. He joined in late 1986, and we continued the band up until 1991. And the original guitar player Tommy, he quit. We got together a few more times, and we did some reunion shows. And we did the last reunion thing that we did was almost 20 years ago, and that didn't work out. So we stopped playing with Tommy, and we formed another band called Toe Tag. And then back in 2016, some people said, "Why don't you learn the Accused record, More Fun Than an Open Casket Funeral?" Because it was going to be the 30th anniversary of that record. So we learned that record from front to back, and we went out and played that record as the Accused AD. And then since then we've toured on. We've played the More Fun Than an Open Casket Funeral record, the Return of Martha Splatterhead record, and the Maddest Stories Ever Told record. And so we were still doing music as Toe Tag, putting out records. And then I think 4 years ago, we put out a record called The Ghoul in the Mirror as the Accused AD. Yeah, we're just we're where we are right now. We're just out to have fun and to have experiences, and having the experience to do Mexico, Latin America. I mean, that's a great experience for us to have. And yeah, we're at a point in our lives where we're doing it to have fun, because we don't, the band isn't our job, so we don't really even have to make any money. We just want to go down there. We want to have a hotel. We want to have our plane tickets, and we want to have somebody to take us around, so we don't get beat up or anything. And
So the main goal is to have fun, right?
the main goal is to have fun, to have new experiences, and to connect with people. We like to connect with people, and we know that we've the music that we've made over the years has had kind of an impact, and and people they're excited to see us, and we're not scared of people. We're out there. We want to meet with people and connect. I'm not going to be jumping 5 feet in the air, doing any kicks, or getting too as crazy as I did when I was a younger guy. But we're going to be playing, songs off of those classic Accused records. Yeah, The Return of Martha Splatterhead, More Fun Than an Open Casket Funeral, Maddest Stories Ever Told, and Grinning Like an Undertaker. We're going to be playing songs off of all those records. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get out there and bam, 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 and hopefully we play long enough and people don't feel like they're being cheated. But yeah, we're going to get out there. We just like to bang them out and make it happen.
Okay, well, that's great. And talking about Martha Splatterhead, can you tell us about how this character was created?
She was a character that I came up with way back right after I first joined the band, because we were kind of we were too metal for the hardcore punk audience, and we were too hardcore punk for the metal audience. So we kind of thought if we had like this female mascot character, it would kind of be embraced by the punk rock hardcore audience. So she was our zombie undead killer of all the bad guys, and and she's kind of morphed. She's morphed over the years, and we've had a lot of different artists that have done their done their interpretation of her. And yeah, she's still out there. She's killing bad guys and doing whatever she needs to do. She's out to, she's just like us. She's just out to have fun now.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to kill somebody every day or something. Somebody like once a month, and that's good enough.
You have been a band that you are being like influenced as bands like Lamb of God, Cannibal Corpse, or metal bands. That you have many great bands also like Arch Enemy, Municipal Waste. Um, so, did you expect to have this type of recognition with the metal new generations or the punk new generations? And also, what are your influences for metal and punk music for new generations? Because it's really curiously how you influence these bands.
I when we were doing music, I don't know. I'm not a young guy, so I don't know how young people think about when they start music. We never thought that we would still be doing this. I'm gonna be 63 years old this year. So
You don't look
if you
like
would,
that.
if
You
you would have
look
told me, in 1987, hey Blaine, you're gonna still be doing this, when you're 63 years old, I would have said you're crazy. I talked to my mother, and my mother goes, I don't know, I don't know, your lifestyle just doesn't match up with this music that you do. Um, we're humbled that we've been an influence, on all of these bands. And I think as time goes on, back in the '80s, like I said, we were too hardcore for the metal people, and we were too metal for the hardcore people. I think now it's kind of flipped. I think that we have more respect in the metal community than we do in the hardcore punk community. Um, and that's through municipal waste, and arch enemy, and cannibal corpse, and lamb of god. I think, and it's great. We've had the opportunity to do some shows, with municipal waste. I've met with, I'm forgetting the guitar player's name for arch enemy. The guy that he was the guy that was in Carcass.
Amat, Michael Amat.
Yes, Michael Mott. Yeah,
Amat.
yeah. So, yeah, yeah. I met up with him when they were in Seattle, a couple of years ago. Yeah, no, it's great.
In this musical career, is there anything that you wish you had done differently?
Um, I wish that we wouldn't have signed contracts. You know, back in the day, and that we would have had lawyers, and been able to do things properly. Because you end up getting screwed, and that's just the way it was back then. I kind of wish that some of that stuff wouldn't have been that way. I wish that things would have gone better with our old guitar player Tommy. I wish that he wouldn't. I just wish that things would have been different with him. But they're not, and we're doing our thing. Like I said, we get presented opportunities. It's like, guys, you guys want to play Maryland Death Fest? Yeah, we're going to play Maryland Death Fest. You want to do these things? Of course we do. It's like, and like I said, we don't need to make money. It's just we need to get our expenses covered, and yeah, we have a good time.
Well, that is really great because the fans, you have a very loyal fan base. And also, I want to ask you, is there anything that you would like to do, like something new, something that you have never done before, like maybe, I don't know, a collaboration with someone, or maybe a remix album for the Accused AD, something that is like unexpected?
We've been planning to do a live record, where we play where we're playing the Accused songs. That's something that we'd like to do. But as far as doing something new, I'd like to be able to go different places. We had a chance to go to Japan, a few years ago, and that was great. And now bands are going to Australia, and bands are going to Korea, and bands are going to China, and Mexico and Latin America. I think that a lot of smaller bands are not doing Europe anymore because it's very, very expensive.
Yes.
And these other countries, it's more accessible. And it's less expensive. And I'm really surprised right now with all the bands that I see that are going to Mexico. And when we were playing way back when, the only place that we saw bands play, they would play Tijuana. There was a club there called Iguanas that bands would play all the time, and that's the only place that I ever knew. Bands are playing in Mexico, and now I've seen tons of bands are coming through Mexico. And I think it's great.
With your experience at the time you have been in the music, especially in the punk and metal music, that they are the more solid fans, loyals. How do you think punk music and metal is right now in this 2025 year, this century? How do you feel the punk and metal music is stand now? Do you think that because they are really solid, people don't want to hear them, or how do you feel the punk industries now in these times with all these
I think with how we're talking right now, this is set up through the people that are booking, our tour in Mexico. And I think now, if you want your music to get out there, you have to have some sort of publicist or something like that, because there's just so many bands. Like I'll watch videos on YouTube and I'll go, how does this band have 1.5 million views? I haven't even heard of them. And then I'll put out a video and we get 500 views. It's just the whole, I don't really, I don't understand how it works now. It's all getting in the algorithm, or whoever is pushing your music, because there's so many bands now. It's not like it used to be, where there was just like the United States was like one scene, and you had, a couple, you had your Bay Area thrash, and your New York metal bands, and then, a few things, scattered about. And now, like everywhere, every city has every city has everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing, but like I said, we're doing it for fun, and it would be great if we got more popular, and we were able to attract a larger audience. But we're not. It's not going to make us stop. We're not crying about it. We're still having fun, and the music that we make now, we're not trying to fit in a category. We're not trying to make a record like The Accused used to make. We're doing our own thing. It's kind of like a band like COC. They had a progression, and they kept making different kinds of music, and a lot of people liked it. And then a lot of people said, well, how come you don't make music like Animosity? It's like, well, because we're growing. Or even a band like The Sword, how their music changed, and then people, well, we don't like what you're doing now because you're different. It's like, well, that's what you do. If you want to play music, then you're kind of, I think if you're a band, and that's why a lot of older bands don't make new music anymore. They just stick with playing the old ones, because that's what people want to hear. And honestly, that's what people want to hear. They don't really care about hearing our new material. They want to hear us play the old songs. That's what they want. That's what people want to hear, because it has that emotional connection.
Exactly, and that's what they want to feel alive. To try to recover the past and try to feel alive now. Yeah. Well, I know that you have another interview, and really we have short time. We want to continue talking to you. This is really interesting, but well, we have a short time. So if you want to say something for Latin America, for this tour, also for the band, the people that are making music now, do you want to say something for them?
Mexico, Latin America, we're excited to meet. We're excited to meet some new people, make some new connections, and we'll see everybody here in a couple of months.
Yes, a couple of months, April.
Yes.
It's going to be so. It looks like far, but it's so close.
Oh, when you get older, time moves really, really fast.
Yeah, and we hope that you can recover, and then if you came to Mexico, they can give you a tea or something, or a lot of vitamin C.
Yes, vitamin. Yeah, I'm taking my vitamins.
Thank you, Coyote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This has really been great.
Thank you so much. Have fun.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Okay, bye.